Laurie, let's talking about the county council. We've expanded the county council from 9 members to 11. How did it work out this year? They perform okay?
Well, Kristen Mink made national news, so maybe that's but that wasn't for a good thing. It was for a bad thing when she was said some negative things about the Muslim community and white people. So that wasn't good. We have Will Jawando, who's trying to somehow get attention by putting a period poverty bill up, which I know you talked about last week, which is like, why are they spending their time on things like this? I don't know. They really should be there. I think they get carried away with regulations and thinking how they can try something to try to get attention to hopefully help them to be county executive or possibly run for Congress someday, instead of focusing on what they really need to do to help the citizens in our community. So yeah, one thing they did do though was override Mark Elrich's a number of things that Mark Elrich was trying to do. They overrode, such as the tax increase and the planning board chair, that was a big deal. So I really am pleased that they overrode the planning board chair thing that Mark Eldridge was trying to take away a person who ended up becoming the chair.
Thank you, Laurie. And Mark, what is your feel about the it was thought that the Republicans would have a good chance of picking up a seat last term, and they weren't able to. So how would you grade the county council from your perspective?
Well, we talked about the fact that we went from a 10% proposed tax increase to a 4% tax increase, and I think it's really regrettable that took place, and it's kind of an example where we end up splitting the difference and not realizing just how much we're shooting ourselves in the foot with the competitive posture with the surrounding jurisdictions. So I think if I had a choice, I would make the county council part-time again. I think when they're working there all the time, they're dreaming up things for public, for press releases and national attention, and not focusing on delivering the services, which is what people really want.
So Mike, that's a curious proposal. Were you on the council when it was part-time, or were you always
It wasn't officially designated either way at that point. And the compensation was certainly dramatically less than what they're getting paid right now. So I made it part-time because I actually had to have another job to make the ends meet. But I think at this point, they're given where they are, it's a full-time position. I think the challenge that they're facing is that there are 11 of them, and I think that becomes very unwieldy. I think I'd give them probably a C+B. A lot of new folks. You had majority new people who did a nice job, I think, of trying to get their sea legs, but they're still learning. It's a majority female council, which I actually think is a really good thing. And so I think that the next year is going to be really interesting to see. But I think with 11 of them, it's unwieldy. And I think they do spend a lot of time individually putting the issues out that don't necessarily make a lot of difference to the collective.
Did anybody stand out?
I think Andrew Fridson, because now he's the chair.
Kate Stewart,
somewhat
I think Kate Stewart has stepped up and has shown that, kind of given the experience that she brought to the council, is good as the mayor of Tacoma Park, as the chair of Council of Governments. I think she does a nice job of kind of showing how you can be an adult in the room.
What about Marilyn Balcom? How did she do?
Marilyn always does a nice job. I think Marilyn.
I'm prejudiced because Marilyn and I are classmates from Leadership Montgomery, the greatest class, 2000, the millennial class. So I'm glad Marilyn has done a great job, at least in my opinion.
So I suppose I should defend Gabe because he was in my class. But anyway.